secret human colony takes over. An entire star system. Galaxy Stunned Part 1. The Discovery Commander Zeth Kai pressed his scaled finger against the control panel of the survey ship Harmony's Edge. The blue lights on the dashboard blinked slowly as the ship came out of hyperspace. Around him, the mixed crew of aliens worked at their stations. The ship had Vorthon engineers, Klexon scientists, and even two quiet contemplatives who rarely spoke. "Report," Zeth Kai said in his rough voice. His species, the Vorthons, were known for being careful and thorough. That's why the Galactic Council always used them for survey missions. "We've arrived at the Kepler 442 system, Commander," said Dr. Yalara, the ship's xenobiologist. Her four eyes moved independently as she read the data. "According to our records, this system should be empty. No life, no colonies, just dead rocks and gas giants." Zeth Kai nodded. This was supposed to be a simple job. Survey the system. Check. For minerals, take some readings and move on. The Galactic Council had hundreds of these routine missions every year. Most found nothing interesting, but something was wrong. "Commander," called out Ensign Crix from the sensor station. The young Klexon's antennae were twitching with excitement. "I'm reading some very strange signatures here." "What kind of strange?" Zeth Kai moved to look over the ensign's shoulder. "Well, there are structures in orbit around the third planet. Big ones. And I'm getting energy readings from at least 4 different worlds." Crix's voice got higher as he talked. "Commander, there are cities down there, lots of them." Dr. Yalara rushed to her own scanner. Her 4 eyes went wide. "This is impossible. The atmospheric readings show oxygen-nitrogen mixtures on 3 planets that should have poisonous air. Someone has been terraforming here." Zeth Kai felt his stomach drop. Terraforming took centuries and massive resources. Only the most advanced civilizations could change entire planets. But according to their star charts, no one had claimed this system. "Put it on the main screen," he ordered. The view screen flickered to life, showing the Kepler 442 system. What they saw made the entire bridge go silent. Massive orbital stations hung in space like glittering jewels. They were huge, bigger than anything the Galactic Council had ever built. Ships moved between them in organized patterns. On the AR, planets below, city lights spread across continents like neural networks. "By the ancestors," whispered Lieutenant Thorne, the ship's communications officer. "How many people live down there?" Dr. Yalara was frantically running calculations. "Based on the city sizes and energy consumption, billions, definitely billions." "That's impossible," Zeth Kai said. "We would have known. The Council monitors all space traffic. How could billions of beings just appear?" "Commander," Crix called out, his voice shaking. "I'm detecting ships approaching our position. Fast." On the screen, small dots were growing larger. The ships that came toward them were sleek and beautiful, with designs unlike anything in the Galactic Council database. They moved with precision and speed that made the Harmony's Edge look clumsy. "Should we power weapons?" asked Lieutenant Thorne. "No," Zeth Kai said quickly. "We're one ship against an entire civilization. If they wanted to destroy us, we'd already be dead." The alien ships surrounded the Harmony's Edge in a perfect formation. They didn't threaten or attack. They just waited. Then the communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke in perfect galactic standard, the common language, used by all Council species. But this voice was different. It was warm, friendly, and strangely familiar. "Survey Vessel Harmony's Edge. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the new Terran Defense Fleet. Welcome to the Kepler 442 system. We've been expecting you." The bridge crew looked at each other in confusion. Zeth Kai had never heard of the new Terran Defense Fleet or anyone called Sarah Chen. "This is Commander Zeth Kai of the Galactic Council," he replied carefully. "We're conducting a routine survey of this system. According to our records, this area is uninhabited." A soft laugh came through. The speakers. Your records are a bit outdated, Commander. We've been here for quite some time. Would you like to come aboard our ship for a proper introduction? I think you'll find our story very interesting. Dr. Yillara was pulling up files on her computer. Commander, I'm searching the Council database for any reference to Terran or Chen. Nothing comes up. We're not in your database yet, the voice said, somehow hearing their conversation. But we know quite a lot about you. About all of you, actually. We know that Dr. Yillara is a xenobiologist from the Outer Rim colonies. We know that Ensign Crix just graduated from the Academy last year. And we know that you, Commander Zeth-Kai, are wondering how a secret civilization managed to build all this without anyone noticing. Zeth-Kai's scales prickled with unease. How did they know so much about his crew? The Galactic Council kept detailed records, but they were secure. How do you know this information? He asked. We've been watching, Commander, learning, preparing, for this day for a very long time. The voice paused. My name is Sarah Chen, and I represent the New Terran Confederation. We are humans, and we have a story to tell that will change everything you think you know about the galaxy. Humans. Zeth-Kai had heard of them. They were one of the newer species to join the Galactic Council, only making first contact about 50 years ago. They came from a small planet called Earth, and were known for being adaptable and curious. But they were still considered a minor species with limited technology. Impossible, Dr. Yillara muttered. Humans don't have this level of technology. They barely have interstellar travel. The humans you know are our cousins, Sarah Chen's voice explained. We are the ones who left Earth long before your first contact. We are the ones who found something amazing out here in the dark. One of the alien ships moved closer to the Harmony's edge. It was beautiful, all smooth curves and flowing lines. It looked more like a work of art than a spaceship. Commander, I'm going to send over a shuttle. I'd like to invite you and 2 of your officers to visit our ship. You can bring weapons if it makes you feel safer, though I promise you won't need them. Zeth-Kai looked around his bridge. His crew was staring at him with wide eyes. This was the kind of situation that started wars or created legends. A secret civilization appearing out of nowhere, claiming to be connected to a known species, but clearly far more advanced. This could be a trap, Lieutenant Thorne whispered. It could be, Zeth-Kai agreed. But if they wanted to harm us, they wouldn't need tricks. Look at those ships. Look at those stations. If this is real, we're looking at technology that's centuries ahead of anything in the Council. Dr. Yillara stepped forward. Commander, as a scientist, I have to say this is the greatest discovery in galactic history. We have to investigate. Zeth-Kai made his decision. Captain Chen, we accept your invitation. I'll bring Dr. Yillara and Lieutenant Thorne with me. Excellent. Fair warning, Commander. What you're about to learn will be quite a shock. The galaxy is not what you think it is. A small shuttle detached from one of the alien ships. As it approached the Harmony's edge, Zeth-Kai could see it was just as advanced as the larger vessels. It moved without any visible engines and made no sound. Prepare the docking bay, Zeth-Kai ordered. He turned to his crew. Continue scanning the system. Record everything. If something happens to us, the Council needs to know about this place. As they walked toward the docking bay, Dr. Yillara grabbed his arm. Commander, what if this changes everything? What if this discovery breaks the balance of power in the galaxy? Zeth-Kai looked out a porthole at the massive orbital stations and the billions of lights on the planets below. Then we'd better hope these humans are as friendly as they sound. The shuttle docked with a soft thump. The airlock opened with a hiss, and a figure stepped through. It was definitely human, bipedal, with the distinctive features Zeth-Kai recognized from Council databases. But this human was different. She was tall and confident, wearing a uniform that seemed to be made of materials he didn't recognize. Her eyes were bright and intelligent, and when she smiled, it was the smile of someone who knew secrets. Commander. Zeth-Kai, she said, extending her hand in the human greeting gesture. I'm Captain Sarah Chen. Welcome to New Terra. We have so much to show you. As Zethkai shook her hand, he realized that his simple survey mission had just become the most important day in galactic history. Whatever these humans had built out here in the darkness, it was about to change everything. Secret human colony takes over an entire star system. Galaxy Stunned Part 2. The Impossible History Captain. Sarah Chen led Commander Zethkai, Dr. Yalara, and Lieutenant Thorne through the corridors of her ship. The walls seemed to glow with a soft, warm light that came from nowhere and everywhere at once. The air smelled clean and fresh, like a spring morning on a forest planet. "Your ship is unusual," Zethkai said, running his scaled hand along the smooth wall. The material felt warm and almost alive. "Thank you," Sarah smiled. "This is the new dawn. She's grown rather than built. We developed biotechnology that lets us create ships that are part machine, part living organism. They repair themselves, learn from experience, and even have a kind of personality." Dr. Yalara's 4 eyes went wide. "That's impossible. No one in the galaxy has biotechnology that advanced. The Council's best scientists have been trying to create self-repairing materials for centuries." "The Council's scientists are very smart," Sarah agreed. "But they've only had 50 years to study human methods. We've had over 200. They entered a large room with windows that showed the vast orbital stations outside. In the center of the room was a holographic display showing the entire solar system. Zethkai could see the 7 planets, dozens of moons, and hundreds of space stations, all connected by streams of light. 200 years? Lieutenant Thorne asked. "But humans only made first contact with the galaxy 50 years ago." Sarah gestured to chairs that seemed to grow from the floor. As they sat down, she activated the holographic display. It showed a primitive human ship drifting through space. "This is the pioneer's dream," Sarah began. "She launched from Earth in 2157 carrying 50,000 humans in cryogenic sleep. Earth was dying then. Pollution, climate change, resource, wars. The ship was humanity's last hope. The hologram changed to show the generation ship arriving in the Kepler 442 system. The journey was supposed to take 150 years, Sarah continued. But when our ancestors woke up here, they found something that changed everything." The display zoomed in on the edge of the solar system, showing a strange structure, floating in space. It looked like a giant ring made of crystal and metal, covered in symbols that hurt to look at directly. "A waygate," Dr. Yalara breathed. "But those are ancient technology. No one knows who built them or how they work." "Exactly," Sarah nodded. "This waygate was different from the ones the Council knows about. It was hidden, dormant, waiting for the right signal to activate it. When our ship's engines powered down near it, something incredible happened. The hologram showed the waygate coming to life, its crystals glowing with brilliant light. Data streams began flowing from it into the human ship's computers. It downloaded everything," Sarah said quietly. "Language databases from a dozen species, star charts showing the entire galaxy, cultural information, technology blueprints, even historical records going back thousands of years. In one moment, our ancestors learned that Earth was not alone in the universe." Zethkai felt his scales ripple with shock. "Your people knew about the Galactic Council before first contact?" "We knew about everyone," Sarah confirmed. "The Vorthans, with their careful engineering. The Klexons with their mathematics. The Contemplatives with their philosophy. We learned your languages, studied your cultures, watched your politics through the Waygate network." Lieutenant Thorne leaned forward. "But why didn't you make contact? Why hide?" Sarah's expression grew serious. "Because we learned from your mistakes. We saw the wars, the conflicts, the species that were destroyed by contact with more advanced civilizations. Our ancestors made a choice. They would watch and learn first, then reveal themselves only when they were ready, the hologram. Changed to show the development of the Kepler 442 system over 2 centuries. Sci-Fi watched in amazement as the humans transformed dead worlds into garden planets, built massive orbital habitats, and developed technology that seemed like magic. We had advantages, Sarah explained. The Waygate gave us access to the galaxy's accumulated knowledge. We could see what worked and what didn't. We took the best ideas from every species and improved on them. Dr. Yalara was frantically taking notes on her datapad. This is incredible. You've had centuries to develop in isolation. No political pressure, no interference from other species. Exactly. We could focus on pure research and development. Sarah stood and walked to the window. Look outside, Commander. What do you see? Sci-Fi joined her at the window. The view was breathtaking. Massive space stations rotated slowly, their surfaces covered in gardens and cities. Ships moved between them in perfect harmony, like a dance choreographed by some cosmic intelligence. I see the most advanced civilization in the galaxy, he said honestly. You see what humans can accomplish when they work together toward a common goal, Sarah corrected. No wars, no territorial disputes, no resource competition, just cooperation and growth. The door to the room opened, and another human entered. This one was older, with silver hair and kind eyes. He wore simple clothes but carried himself with quiet authority. Commander, I'd like you to meet Dr. Marcus Webb, Sarah said. He's our chief historian and one of the last people alive who spoke to the original colonists. Dr. Webb shook hands with each of the visitors. My great-grandmother was on the pioneer's dream, he said. I grew up listening to her stories about Earth and the early days here. What was it like? Dr. Yalara asked. Building all this from nothing? Dr. Webb smiled. Terrifying and wonderful at the same time. The first generation lived in the ship while they built basic habitats on New Terra Prime. That's what we call the third planet. They used the Waygate's information to develop new farming techniques, new construction methods, new ways of organizing society. The hologram showed the early colony. Simple domes and tunnels on a barren world. The second generation was born here, Dr. Webb continued. They were the first true New Terrans. They grew up knowing they were part of something bigger than just one planet. They expanded to the moons, then to other worlds. By the third generation, my grandmother's time, we had terraformed 3 planets and built our first orbital cities. The fourth generation spread throughout the system, and now, he gestured out the window. We have 17 billion people living on 7 worlds and hundreds of space habitats. Sci-Fi's mind reeled. 17 billion humans? But Earth's population is only 12 billion. We are the lost branch of humanity, Sarah explained. While our cousins on Earth struggled with first contact and integration into galactic society, we grew strong in secret. We developed our own culture, our own technology, our own way of life. Dr. Yalara looked up from her notes. This biotechnology, the self-repairing ships, the terraforming, how advanced is it really? Dr. Webb and Sarah exchanged a look. Would you like to see? Sarah asked. She led them to another window, this one facing New Terra Prime. The planet, below, was a swirling mix of blue oceans, green continents, and white clouds. But as they watched, Sci-Fi realized something was strange about the clouds. They're not random, he said slowly. The weather patterns, they're controlled. Every storm, every rainfall, every sunny day, Sarah confirmed. We don't just live on these planets, we partner with them. Our biotechnology extends into the atmosphere, the oceans, even the planetary core. The worlds themselves help us maintain perfect conditions for life. Lieutenant Thorne pointed at something moving across the planet's surface. What are those lines? Transport networks, Dr. Webb explained. But not like the maglev trains other species use. Ours are living systems, more like blood vessels that carry people and goods at incredible speeds. The entire planet is connected, like a single organism. The implications hit Zethkai like a physical blow. This wasn't just an advanced civilization. It was something entirely new. The humans hadn't just built cities and spaceships. They had created a living world that grew and adapted and evolved. How many people know about this? He asked. On our side? Everyone, Sarah replied. On your side? Until today, no one. But you said you've been watching the galaxy, Dr. Yellara protested. Surely someone suspected. Sarah smiled mysteriously. We've been more active than you might think. Remember the Hegemony-Klexon border war that ended suddenly when both sides found rich mineral deposits in neutral territory? Zethkai nodded. The war had been about to destroy 2 entire species until those convenient discoveries. We seeded those asteroids and made sure the right people found them, Dr. Webb said quietly. The plague that hit the Outer Rim colonies 5 years ago, the cure appeared almost overnight because we had been developing it in secret. The contemplative peace accords? Lieutenant Thorne asked. We provided the philosophical framework that made them possible, Sarah confirmed. Anonymous. Gifts, lucky discoveries, convenient timing. We've been helping the galaxy stay stable while we finished preparing. Preparing for what? Zethkai asked, though he was beginning to understand. Sarah walked back to the holographic display. With a gesture, it expanded to show the entire galaxy, with trade routes and political boundaries marked in different colors. Preparing for this moment, she said simply. Preparing to reveal ourselves and offer our help. The galaxy is facing challenges that no single species can handle alone. Climate change on a galactic scale. Resource. Secret human colony takes over. An entire star system. Galaxy Stunned Part 3. The Galactic Reaction High Counselor, Vrexmal, slammed his 6-clawed fist on the crystal table, sending shockwaves through the emergency session chamber. Around the massive circular room, representatives from 47 species stared at the holographic display showing the Kepler 442 system. This is impossible! The hegemony leader roared, his blue scales rippling with rage. No species develops this level of technology in isolation. They must have stolen it. Ambassador Keth Ara of the Trade Federation clicked her beak nervously. The economic implications are staggering. A fully developed star system appearing overnight? This could crash markets across 12 sectors. At the center of the chamber, Supreme Chancellor Yoth-An maintained his calm demeanor. But his 3 hearts were beating faster than normal. As the elected leader of the Galactic Council, he had seen many crises. But nothing like this. Commander Zethkai's report has been verified by 3 independent sources, the Chancellor announced. The human colony in Kepler 442 is real. Their technology appears genuine, and their population numbers are accurate. The chamber erupted. In angry voices, representatives shouted in dozens of languages, their translation devices struggling to keep up. 17 billion secret humans, screeched Representative Ixil of the Klexon Math Lords. The demographic calculations will take years to process. Order. Chancellor Yoth-An's voice boomed through the chamber. We are here to discuss facts, not fears. In the observation gallery, Dr. Elena Vasquez watched the chaos below with interest. She was officially listed as an observer from Earth, a low-ranking diplomat from humanity's home planet. In reality, she was New Terra's primary agent within the Galactic Council, and she had been waiting for this day for 23 years. Beside her sat Ambassador Harrison Cole, the official human representative to the Council. His face was pale with shock. Elena, he whispered, did you know about this? Did Earth know? Elena kept her expression neutral. Earth had no knowledge of the new Terran Confederation, she said truthfully. She didn't mention that she had been born on New Terra Prime and had volunteered for this deep-cover mission as a young woman. Down in the chamber, contemplative Prime Seer Veloth spoke in his slow, thoughtful manner. The philosophical implications trouble me most. a species that chose isolation over integration. This challenges everything we believe about galactic unity. It challenges more than philosophy, growled War Marshal Krex of the hegemony military. How do we know these humans aren't a threat? They've been watching us for centuries while we knew nothing about them. That sounds like espionage to me. Chancellor Yoth An activated a new hologram. Detailed scans of new Terran technology provided by Commander Zethkai. The advanced orbital stations rotated slowly in the display, their elegant designs making even Council megastructures look primitive. Our preliminary analysis suggests their technology is at least 2 centuries ahead of current galactic standards, announced Chief Science Advisor Morth L. The elderly Klexon's 4 arms moved rapidly as he manipulated the data. Their energy systems operate on principles we don't fully understand. Their materials science appears to blend organic and synthetic components in ways that should be impossible. Exactly! War Marshal Krex stood, his massive frame towering over the other representatives. No species advances that quickly without outside help. Either they've been receiving aid from an unknown source, or they've been stealing our technology. For decades, Elena smiled slightly. The hegemony were predictably suspicious, but they were also predictably wrong. New Terra's technology hadn't come from theft. It had come from taking the best ideas from every species and improving on them over 2 centuries of uninterrupted research. Ambassador Ninth of the Outer Rim colonies raised a tentative appendage. Perhaps we should consider that this could be beneficial. If their technology is truly this advanced, imagine what they could share with us. Terraforming methods, energy systems, medical advances, or weapons, War Marshal Krex interrupted. Weapons that could conquer the entire galaxy. The chamber fell silent at those words. The possibility of an unknown military threat was something every species understood. Chancellor Yotan looked toward the observation gallery. Ambassador Cole, as Earth's representative, do you have any insight into this situation? Harrison Cole stood slowly, his hands shaking slightly. Elena watched him with sympathy. The poor man was genuinely shocked by the revelation. Honored Chancellor, Cole began. Earth had no knowledge of the new Terran Confederation. According to our historical records, the generation ship Pioneer's Dream was lost with all hands over 200 years ago. We mourned them as dead. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The tragedy of a lost generation ship was something all spacefaring species could relate to. However, Cole continued, if these people are truly our distant cousins, then I can speak to human nature. We are explorers and builders by instinct. If they have spent 2 centuries developing in isolation, it would be natural for them to eventually seek contact with the wider galaxy. Natural or strategic? War Marshal Krex demanded. They reveal themselves just as several border conflicts are heating up. Very convenient timing. Elena's smile widened. If only he knew how much new Terran influence had gone into preventing those conflicts from becoming full wars. The convenient timing was very deliberate indeed. Trade Representative Cathara clicked her beak again. The economic analysis is complete. If New Terra joins the galactic economy, 17 billion new consumers could destabilize currency exchanges throughout the core worlds. Their advanced technology could make entire industries obsolete overnight. On the other hand, said Mining, Guild Representative Thorak, their terraforming technology could open up thousands of new worlds for colonization. The profit potential is enormous. Elena watched the debate with growing amusement. They were discussing New Terra like it was a business opportunity or a military threat, not a civilization of 17 billion people who had been helping the galaxy for decades without recognition. Chancellor Yoth An called up a new display. A communication log. 3 hours ago, we received an official message from Captain Sarah Chen of the New Terran Defense Fleet. She has requested formal diplomatic contact. The chamber buzzed with activity as the message played on the main screen. Sarah's calm, professional voice filled the room. To the Honorable Galactic Council, I am Captain Sarah Chen, speaking for the New Terran Confederation. We formally request the opportunity to present our case for membership in the Galactic Council. We believe our unique perspective and capabilities could benefit all member species. We await your response. The message ended, leaving the chamber in tense silence. Membership? Squeaked Representative Ixil. They want full membership? That requires unanimous approval from all current members. War Marshal Krex's scales darkened with anger. Absolutely not. We know nothing about their military capabilities, their political system, or their true intentions. They could be preparing for conquest. Or they could be offering partnership, countered Contemplative Prime Seer Veloth. Consider the philosophical beauty of a species that chose to watch and learn before joining. Perhaps we could learn from their patience. Elena decided it was time to add some carefully chosen information to the debate. She had been saving this revelation for the right moment. She stood and cleared her throat. Honored Chancellor, may I speak? Chancellor Yothan looked surprised. Earth's observer rarely spoke during council sessions. You may address the council. Dr. Vasquez. Thank you. I believe the Council should consider New Terra's past actions before judging their intentions. Elena activated her personal data pad, which connected to the Chamber's display system. I have been researching recent galactic events, and I've found some interesting patterns. The main screen showed a timeline of major galactic events over the past 50 years. Elena highlighted several key incidents. The hegemony Klexon border war ended suddenly when both sides discovered rich mineral deposits in neutral space. Investigation shows these asteroids were artificially enhanced with rare metals. War Marshal Krex's expression grew thoughtful. Those resources had prevented a war that would have cost billions of lives. The Outer Rim plague of 2203 was cured within days of its appearance. The cure was found simultaneously on 5 different worlds, in medical facilities that couldn't possibly have developed it independently. Ambassador Neith's multiple eyes widened. Her people had been saved by that miraculous cure. The contemplative peace accords were possible because of a new philosophical framework that appeared in academic journals across the galaxy, written by authors who couldn't be traced, but whose ideas formed the basis for lasting peace. Elena paused for effect, watching as understanding dawned on faces throughout the chamber. 17 major conflicts prevented, 8 humanitarian crises solved, dozens of lucky discoveries that benefited multiple species, all within the time frame when New Terra claims to have been observing the galaxy. The chamber was completely silent now. Even War Marshal Krex looked uncertain. Chancellor Yothan spoke slowly. Dr. Vasquez, are you suggesting that New Terra has been helping us without our knowledge? I'm suggesting that a civilization capable. Secret human colony takes over. An entire star system. Galaxy Stunned Part 4. The demonstration. The massive exploration vessel Unity's Promise dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system, followed by an escort of 12 Council warships. Admiral Tekvar of the Hegemony Navy stood on the bridge, his blue scales gleaming under the ship's lights. Beside him, Chancellor Yothan watched the view screen with 3 of his hearts beating faster than usual. Impressive escort, commented Dr. Elena Vasquez, who had been assigned to the diplomatic mission as Earth's cultural advisor. She hid her smile as she watched the alien commanders try to look confident. Standard procedure for first contact with an unknown civilization, Admiral Tekvar replied stiffly. We must be prepared for any situation. On the view screen, the New Terran system spread out before them in all its impossible glory. Orbital stations the size of moons hung in perfect formation around 7 different planets. Ships moved between them in streams of light, following patterns too complex for the Council's computers to track. By the ancestors, whispered communications, Officer Yilbeth. How many ships are out there? Sensors are reading over 10,000 active vessels, reported the ship's Klexon science officer. But that can't be right. No system has that much traffic. Admiral Tekvar studied the readings with growing unease. Each of those ships appeared to be more advanced than anything in the Council fleet. What are their weapons capabilities? Unknown. Sir, our sensors can't penetrate their hull materials. For all we know, every civilian transport could be armed. Before the Admiral could respond, the communication system activated. Captain Sarah Chen's familiar voice filled the bridge. Council Vessel Unity's Promise. This is Admiral Elena Vasquez of the New Terran Defense Fleet. Welcome back to our system. Doctor. Elena Vasquez raised an eyebrow with interest. She had not expected to encounter someone who shared her name. More interesting, this Admiral Elena seemed to know exactly who was aboard the Council ship. Admiral Vasquez, Chancellor Yotan replied. I am Supreme Chancellor Yotan of the Galactic Council. We come in peace to conduct formal diplomatic contact with your people. A warm laugh came through the speakers. We know exactly why you're here, Chancellor, and we're honored by your visit. However, before we begin formal discussions, we feel you should understand exactly what you're dealing with. Admiral Tekvar stepped forward. Are you threatening us? Quite the opposite, Admiral, Elena replied. We're going to show you why threats are unnecessary when you have the right technology. The view screen suddenly changed, showing a three-dimensional map of the entire galaxy. Red dots marked the positions of every council ship, space station, and military base. There were thousands of them, and they were all perfectly tracked in real time. This is impossible, breathed the science officer. They're tracking ships across the entire galaxy simultaneously. We've been watching over you for a long time, Admiral Elena explained. Every ship, every station, every major population center. Not to threaten, but to protect. Chancellor Yotan felt a chill run through his body. How long have you been monitoring us? 200 years, Chancellor. We know the position of every hegemony battlecruiser, every Trade Federation cargo, ship, every contemplative research vessel. We've been the galaxy's unseen guardian. Admiral Tekvar's scales darkened with anger. This is espionage on an unprecedented scale. It's protection on an unprecedented scale, Admiral Elena corrected. Would you like a demonstration of what we can do with this information? Before anyone could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the Council fleet. Every ship's weapons officer reported the same impossible thing. Their weapon systems had shut down completely. What have you done? Admiral Tekvar roared. Nothing harmful, Admiral Elena replied calmly. We've simply disabled your weapons temporarily. Every photon cannon, every missile launcher, every energy shield, all offline but completely undamaged. The Admiral frantically worked his controls. Nothing responded. Around the fleet, 12 of the galaxy's most advanced warships floated helplessly in space. This is an act of war, he shouted. No, Admiral, this is an act of mercy, Admiral Elena said quietly. If we wanted to start a war, your ships would be debris by now. Instead, they're just taking a nap. Dr. Elena Vasquez stepped forward, no longer hiding her smile. Perhaps you should listen to what she has to say. On the view screen, new ships began appearing around the Council fleet. They seemed to materialize from nothing. Sleek, elegant, vessels that made the Council's warships look like primitive scrap metal. Where did they come from? Demanded the science officer. They were always there, Admiral Elena explained. Our stealth technology is quite advanced. Those 50 ships have been escorting you since you entered our system. Chancellor Yotan counted the ships surrounding them. 50 vessels, each one larger and more advanced than anything in the Council fleet. And they had been invisible until now. What do you want from us? He asked. We want to show you something beautiful, Admiral Elena replied. Please observe. The space around them began to change. More ships appeared, hundreds, then thousands. Massive orbital platforms unfolded, like flowers, revealing weapons systems that seemed to bend space itself. Energy barriers sprang up around entire planets, shimmering with colors that had no names. This is our defensive grid, Admiral Elena explained. "It protects not just our system, but extends throughout this entire sector of the galaxy. We've been guarding the trade routes, preventing pirate attacks, and stopping wars before they could start." The holographic display showed the true extent of New Terran influence: hidden bases throughout the galaxy, secret monitoring stations, and protection networks that spanned dozens of star systems. "You've been everywhere," Chancellor Yothan said in amazement. "We've been where we needed to be," Admiral Elena confirmed. "Remember the Void pirate fleet that disappeared mysteriously last year? We captured them and turned them over to local authorities, anonymously. The slavers who were raiding the outer rim colonies? We freed their prisoners and destroyed their ships, the plague ships heading for the core worlds. We intercepted and cured them before they could spread disease." Dr. Elena Vasquez felt a surge of pride. Her people had been the galaxy's secret protectors for decades, never asking for recognition or thanks. Admiral Thekvar was staring at the displays in shock. The hegemony lost 3 battle fleets to unexplained equipment failures last year. "They weren't failures," Admiral Elena said gently. "Your fleets were heading to attack civilian colonies. We couldn't allow that, so we disabled them temporarily and created false technical reports to explain the shutdowns." You've been manipulating our military records? "We've been preventing unnecessary wars, Admiral. Your people are brave warriors, but some battles don't need to be fought." Chancellor Yothan looked around at his bridge crew. Every face showed the same expression: awe mixed with fear. They were dealing with a civilization that could control the galaxy's military. "Forces without anyone even knowing. What happens now?" he asked. "Now we show you the real demonstration," Admiral Elena replied. The space around them exploded into activity. Thousands of ships began moving in perfect coordination, like a massive dance choreographed by some cosmic intelligence. Orbital platforms rearranged themselves into new configurations. Planets themselves seemed to shift slightly in their orbits. "What you're seeing is our standard defensive formation," Admiral Elena explained. "Every ship, every station, every weapon system in our territory moving as one. We don't have a military in the traditional sense. We have a living defense network that thinks and responds as a single entity." The science officer's hands were shaking as he read his instruments. "The coordination is perfect, absolutely perfect. It's like they're all controlled by one mind." "In a way, we are," Admiral Elena said. "Our biotechnology includes neural networking that allows unprecedented coordination. When we work together, we think together." Dr. Elena Vasquez stepped closer to the viewscreen. "You're not just showing them your military power. You're showing them your unity." "Exactly. We don't fight each other because we don't think of ourselves as separate. Every human in this system is connected, working toward the same goals." Admiral Thekvar finally found his voice. "This level of technology, you could conquer the entire galaxy." "We could," Admiral Elena agreed. "But we don't want to. Conquest is what species do when they can't work together. We've moved beyond that." The weapons systems on the Council ships suddenly came back online. Alarms stopped blaring, and normal operations resumed. "Your weapons are restored," Admiral Elena announced. "We wanted you to understand that we choose cooperation over domination. Always." Chancellor Yothan slumped in his chair, overwhelmed by what he had witnessed. "What do you want from the Galactic Council?" "Partnership," Admiral Elena replied simply. "We want to work openly instead of in secret. We want to share our knowledge and technology. We want to help build a better galaxy for everyone. And if we refuse..." There was a long pause before Admiral Elena answered. "Then we'll continue protecting the galaxy in secret as we always have. But wouldn't it be better to work together?" Dr. Elena Vasquez moved to the communication console. "Admiral, this is Dr. Elena Vasquez. Secret human colony takes over." An entire star system, Galaxy Stunned Part 5, the new galactic order 6 months after the discovery of New Terra, the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council had never been so crowded. Representatives from all 47 member species filled the massive chamber, along with observers from dozens of minor civilizations. At the center podium stood Captain Sarah Chen, no longer hiding behind military titles or diplomatic protocol. Chancellor Yoth An called the session to order, his 3 hearts beating with nervous anticipation. Today we vote on the most significant decision in galactic history: the admission of the new Terran Confederation as a founding member of the Galactic Council. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Founding member status had never been granted to a new species. It was reserved for the 3 eldest civilizations who had created the council millennia ago. Trade Representative Cathara clicked her beak nervously. The economic projections are staggering. New Terran technology could revolutionize every industry in the galaxy. Transportation, communication, terraforming, medicine, everything would change. Change for the better, added Dr. Morthal, the chief science advisor. Their biotechnology has already solved food shortages on 17 worlds. Their energy systems could end resource wars permanently. War Marshal Krex, whose attitude had transformed completely over the past months, stood slowly. 6 months ago, I called these humans a threat. I was wrong. They are the opposite of a threat. They are the solution to threats we didn't even know we faced. In the observation gallery, Dr. Elena Vasquez watched with quiet satisfaction. The vote was already decided, but the public ceremony was important. After 2 centuries in the shadows, New Terra deserved its moment in the light. Captain Sarah Chen activated the chamber's holographic display. Instead of showing military might or technological superiority, the image that appeared was simple and beautiful. Children from dozens of species playing together in a park on New Terra Prime. Honored representatives, Sarah began. 6 months ago, you learned that 17 billion humans had been living in secret, watching the galaxy from the shadows. Today, I want to tell you about the other secret we've been keeping. The hologram changed to show a star map of the galaxy. 17 systems glowed with soft blue light, scattered across known space. New Terra was not alone, Sarah continued. We were never alone. 17 human colonies exist throughout the galaxy, each one developing along different paths, each one contributing to our collective knowledge. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Even after months of revelations, the humans still had surprises. The colony at Proxima Centauri focused on quantum mechanics and developed faster-than-light communication that works instantly across galactic distances. The settlement in the Vega system mastered energy manipulation and can terraform dead worlds in years instead of centuries. The hidden base in the neutral zone perfected medical technology that can cure any known disease. Ambassador Harrison Cole from Earth leaned forward in amazement. As humanity's official representative, he had been struggling to understand his species' place in this new reality. 17 colonies? How is that possible? Sarah smiled at him warmly. Because humans don't give up, Ambassador. When the Pioneer's dream was thought lost, Earth launched 16 more generation ships over the following decades. Each one found its way to a different system. Each one chose to remain hidden until we were all ready to reveal ourselves together. Contemplative Prime. Seer Veloth spoke in his slow, thoughtful manner. A coordinated revelation spanning 2 centuries and 17 star systems. The patience required for such a plan is unprecedented. It's what humans do best, Sarah replied. We plan for the future, not just for ourselves, but for our children and their children. We think in generations, not just in years. Chancellor Yotan called up the official proposal on the main screen. The motion before us is clear. The new Terran Confederation requests admission to the Galactic Council with founding member status, including full voting rights, territorial recognition, and technology sharing agreements. What about Earth? Asked Ambassador Cole. Where does this leave the original human civilization? Sarah's expression grew warm with affection. Earth is our mother world, Ambassador. We would never forget that. The proposal includes Earth as a co-member of the new Terran Confederation. Your people would have the same rights and protections as ours. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood in the observation gallery. If I may address the assembly, Chancellor Yotan nodded. Over the past months, Dr. Vasquez had become an unofficial bridge between the two human civilizations. I have spent 23 years living among you as Earth's representative, Elena said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. But I was born on New Terra Prime. I volunteered for a deep cover mission to learn about galactic politics and to help prepare for this moment. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of representatives who had worked with her for decades. During those years, I never lied about my values or my beliefs. I genuinely care about this galactic community. We all do. That's why we've spent 2 centuries protecting it in secret. Trade Representative Cathara stood. Dr. Vasquez, the economic analysis shows that full integration with New Terra could destabilize currency markets. How do we manage such a massive change? Elena smiled. We don't change everything at once. New Terran economists have been studying galactic markets for decades. We have an integration plan that phases in our technology over 50 years, allowing existing industries to adapt rather than collapse. What about military concerns? Asked War Marshal Krex. Your defensive capabilities make every other fleet obsolete. Sarah Chen answered this one. War Marshal, we don't want to make your fleets obsolete. We want to make them unnecessary. Our goal is to eliminate the conflicts that require military solutions in the first place. The hologram changed to show a timeline of galactic conflicts over the past century. Most of them had been quietly resolved or prevented by New Terran. Intervention. Resource wars become impossible when terraforming can create new worlds in years. Border disputes become meaningless when faster-than-light communication allows instant negotiation. Territorial expansion becomes unnecessary when biotechnology can make any world habitable. Dr. Morthel was frantically taking notes. The technological implications alone could advance galactic civilization by thousands of years. That's the idea, Sarah said simply. We've had 2 centuries to develop solutions to problems that plague most civilizations. We want to share those solutions. Chancellor Yotan looked around the chamber. Are there any other questions before we vote? Representative Ixil of the Klexon Math Lords raised a thin appendage. What guarantees do we have that New Terra won't use this position to dominate galactic politics? Sarah's answer was immediate and confident. The same guarantee we've given for 2 centuries, our actions. We've had the power to conquer the galaxy for decades. Instead, we chose to protect it. That won't change now that we're working openly. Elena added her own perspective. In 23 years of working within the Council, I've seen how politics can corrupt even the best intentions. New Terra's political system is designed to prevent that corruption. Every major decision requires consensus from billions of people through our neural network. No single leader can make choices that affect the galaxy. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. A civilization where billions of people could participate directly in government decisions was unprecedented in galactic history. Chancellor Yotan called for the formal vote. All those in favor of admitting the New Terran Confederation as a founding member of the Galactic Council? One by one, representatives stood. The contemplatives, recognizing the philosophical beauty of the human approach. The Trade Federation, calculating the enormous economic benefits. The Klexons, impressed by the mathematical elegance of the integration plan. Even the hegemony military, convinced by months of evidence that New Terra sought partnership, not conquest. When the count was finished, the result was unanimous. 47 species had voted to fundamentally change the structure of galactic civilization. Chancellor Yothan stood formally. By unanimous vote of all member species, the Galactic Council hereby admits the New Terran Confederation as our newest founding member. Welcome to the galaxy, humans. The chamber erupted in applause from dozens of species. Sarah Chen bowed deeply, then activated her communication device. New Terra Prime, this is Captain Chen. The vote has passed. We're coming home. Across the galaxy, on 17 different worlds, celebration began. Humans who had lived their entire lives in secret finally stepped into the light. Hidden bases revealed themselves. Cloaked ships dropped their stealth systems. The galaxy's greatest secret became its newest hope. But the real changes were yet to come. 3 years later, Commander Sci-Fi stood on the observation deck of the First Integrated Space Station, a joint project between New Terra and the Galactic Council. Through the transparent walls, he could see Earth and New Terra ships working side by side, their crews a mix of humans and aliens learning from each other. Beside him, Dr. Ylara was analyzing plant samples from the station's gardens, crops that could grow in any atmosphere, created through new